If you can stop talking for 10 seconds, that would be fantastic. You want to hit the start timer on there? You want to hit? You want to start podcasting, genius?
I had that voice in my head getting ready to leave the house in here. Do you guys ever have that voice in your head that just beats you down? You're having a good day, and then it brings up something from junior high to remind you what a piece of crap you've always been. I'm getting ready to leave, and that voice is like, don't go. Get out of the car. Turn around. Kill yourself. You're not funny. And finally, as I parked the car, I said, Mom, I gotta go.
Hello, and welcome to Carnivore Personnel. I'm Jacques.
I don't know if I should even bother talking. I've been gone for so long, but this is Bev. Hey, I'm back.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Hey, guys, it's Joe. Hey,
And,
Biff. Nice to see you again. Nice of you to join us.
You know, the only way I could get both Biff and Joe to do a show together again is I promised them that at the top of the show, I would play a clip from one of our favorite comics. And that's what it took. You're welcome, everybody.
Very presidential of you.
Yes, but enough about me. What about you? What do you think of me? So it has, guys. It has been, I don't know, 2 months since the three of us have been yapping together.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. No fault of you people, though. It's just my
What
work.
do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
You people. You people from Massachusetts.
Jacques not from Massachusetts. He's from L.A.
Yeah, and my soul is anyway. But I've just a triumphant return to the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts after spending, 2 fun-filled weeks in Southern California. I'll break all that down in a sec, but yeah, no, it's let's see, since we've chatted. I don't think any of us have had children or bought a house or maybe major new things going on that we need to catch up about. We are overdue for the Pee Wee Herman sideshow that we got to figure out. I gotta say, I saw the I don't know if it was a tweet. It was probably a tweet from the Alamo, the official Twitter handle of the Alamo, and they're like, there hasn't been a day since that movie's come out that people haven't asked to see the basement, and and we like it was just a really sweet, of all places, you know what I mean, to kind of.
Well, somebody posted when the Alamo posted their remembrance. Somebody said, "Imagine how great of a person you have to be when the Alamo remembers you."
Wow.
You know what? That is brilliant. That really is brilliant. Wow, I do like that. And we haven't done a podcast for a couple of weeks because I've been MIA. I kind of thought we maybe squeezed one in while I was out there, but it's all good. But I'm glad the three of us here. Okay, so enough babbling. I will plug next week's sideshow. Joe and I just had a very, very delightful chat with a comedian that I was lucky to do a showcase with. It was the first showcase that I did when I got there at Tao Comedy, Tao Comedy. It's this fantastic place in Koreatown. It was nice to be in Koreatown. You just really, so many great members have taken my mom-in-law there. She absolutely loved. And Koreatown, Joe, in LA is, I don't know, like
You're
Like-
trying to phrase it so that you're not super racist.
No,
aren't you?
no. I'm trying to think like size wise, like compare it to like a small.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's as big as Lowell. Like honestly, the number of streets, like X amount of miles this way. I mean, in Los Angeles, when my mom-in-law would come out on terrestrial television, there was 2 Korean TV stations. Not on cable, on regular television with an antenna. You could get 2, Korean stations, news, TV shows.
I
Like,
thought you were getting North and South Korean television because that would be really cool.
but no, it's a great place. But
Anyways, it says the area is about 150 blocks, 2.7 square miles is what it says on the Wikipedia. So there you go.
Wow.
That's a lot of yardage, Here's the fun thing. If you see a Latino worker inside a Korean grocery store, they don't speak Spanish and some broken English. They speak Spanish and some broken Korean, which it's funny that, that kind of makes sense. That's the world that they end up living in. And so when management and I would take her mom to the store and we'd have to look for something and we would ask, luckily she spoke enough Spanish and enough Korean to kind of navigate through like the stores and stuff like that. But it was a great place. But Joe, please help me with the last name. Lauren Caputo. Thank you. Lauren Caputo. She's the next week's guest that we just recorded. Crazy funny. It's nice that she's she's probably 10 years plus younger than me, but also as a married comedian. And we also share the fact that we're both married to women. So we have a lot in common with our sensibilities and our humor. Like we were talking about, like we both did that showcase together. And she had gone up, I think, just before me. She had a joke about loading the dishwasher wrong too, and my take is different, but it's also the same. And I kind of wrestled. It's like, oh, okay, so we are both in that we will never load the dishwasher right club. So it's are you guys in that club? Do you guys know how to properly load a dishwasher by your management standards?
I am the dishwasher. Yeah,
I actually set the standards in my household because
Oh,
yeah,
I do all the
other people just
dishwashing.
toss it in, yeah.
I'm not saying I don't do all the dishwashing, but
You just
on
do
the
it
rare
wrong.
occasion, like I many
like,
years ago,
yeah.
I will run it. I don't load it like when I come home from doing a show or just before I go to bed when she goes upstairs. That's when I load it. And I unload it before because the rare occasion she opens it, it's like, this fork is upside down. It's like, and then it's a thing with the stuff, and I sleep outside on the couch, which why do we have a couch outside? That's another story. But no,
For
Lauren,
maximum suffering.
yeah, thank you. Lauren was actually, no, absolute, not actually. She was an absolute delight. It was a very fun conversation. I'm looking forward to editing that. And now
Editing?
Willa,
What is it?
don't.
You mean like, clipping in her jokes at the beginning and then a Beyond It song at the end? That's
Well,
essentially.
You know what?
I don't mean to break down the fourth wall, but yeah,
You
I'm a
got-
jerk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Might be editing some other stuff here.
Oh, please. Is that what it takes? Insulting you?
No. I mean, anyways.
Aren't I a bitch?
But let's get right to it. Let's start at the beginning and work our way back. I had a great week. The last show that I did was a showcase at the Knitting Factory, hosted by our dear friend Sally Mullins, and Biff was in attendance. And I gotta say,
One of the 2 hosts of Carnival Personnel.
That's right.
no,
Yeah.
what the line was
I-
was the sexiest of the 2 hosts here tonight from Carnival Personnel.
You might have written that. That's not what she said.
I think I have video that we could go over if we need
but
to.
that's what I
Yeah.
wrote. That is what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great. Well,
I don't mind being a special guest star.
I'll tell you. I did 2 big showcases out here, one in December, that I was horrible at, and one in March that I was okay at. And both of those showcases, like, I was really amazed like how many of my pals showed up. And it was really great. People from the, I don't want to sound like, an Italian who, from the old neighborhood, but the old neighborhood I grew up with in 1974 that we moved out of in 1981. Like, two of those guys and their significant others, had shown up. And
Cool.
yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah.
And then the other showcase that I did, a bunch of people. But I tell you, in Los Angeles on a school night, on a Tuesday night, Biff, to have you drive as far as you did, to have
Actually, I was close. It was
Okay.
JT that had the freaking, oh my God, he had to go through that 405 traffic on a weeknight. Are you kidding me?
and he did the same thing the Saturday before. Like JT came to two showcases, the two big showcases. Everything else was a mic, and then when I went to the Comic Store with Sally, that was unexpected. That was, I'm just going to see the show, and she was just absolutely just a godsend. And I'll talk about that a little bit, but to get to hang out in you go through the green room, and then there's this little alleyway to get to the secret green room, and the posters in there and just the vibe in there. It's like the absolute mind-numbing amount of cocaine that was done in there in the 80s. But John drove all the way from Manhattan Beach, to Koreatown on a Saturday night. And then to get from Manhattan Beach to, the middle of North Hollywood for a 7:30 show. I mean, but then again, same thing, All-Star Tommy, Scotty Black, Patty, I haven't seen Woody in forever. I mean, it was the fact that so many of you guys showed up. I know it's such an old cliche. I know I say it all the time, but there are so many times when I'm like, yeah, I get how George Bailey felt at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. The amount of, people have shown up for these things. I don't think Joe's, you made all three of those, things at the Luna Theater and stuff like that. And could not be more appreciative that when people actually put on pants and leave their house to essentially come see me do that, so seriously, Biff, I was really surprised at, like, I did not, because Patty had mentioned it. That's the other thing. A couple of the guys, the first F&H, I didn't know weren't playing. I didn't know Al was on the injured reserve and that Al just drives, to hang out like on Friday night. So I got to see so many friends while I was in
about
town.
your social life, though, right?
What's that?
It tells you a lot about your social life.
It does, but seriously, I was just so amazingly blown away and touched. And still, even at Tayo, a bunch of people came to that show, but All-Star paid to log into that show. And, a bunch of other friends back here, Ross, Ross in Baltimore, paid the $10 to zoom into that show and stuff. And at the end of the night, when the people said, hey, here's the list of the people who are on the Zoom. Do you know who these people are? And I'm like, well, that's this guy. That's this guy. And it was like, I cannot stop saying thank you and being touched for showing up. Now, why don't you break down how awful I was?
You were fine. It was kind of like, well, I mean, I did feel like, wow, it's like, it seemed like you actually practiced and shit. So that was the one thing where it's not like this podcast where, we just go on this kind of, who knows, this freelancing, ride of, continuous just rambling. It was actually kind of,
It was structured rambling.
All that stuff. It was actually pretty good. I was, so there you go. And I guess how to time yourself and stuff like that too, because you kind of, I think it was kind of nicely wrapped up. So yeah, I thought it was a good set. I didn't, I did miss your other Zoom set, the Koreatown set, but I thought it was pretty well put together.
It was you the other set was 15 minutes, so you only had to suffer for 7 of that.
Yeah, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? I've been on a car ride with you.
Yeah,
between LA and
that's true.
Arizona,
Yeah,
so
true.
yeah, like oh my god, 15 minutes of suffering.
That
Yeah.
was
We're on an hour and a half long podcast right now.
that was the first time I broke out that Gilbert opening too. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
This is a live crowd, and that's the fun thing. It's like it's hard to do crowd work at most of the crappy things I do back here because it's the same people. It's just a room full of other comics. But the fact that was a room full of real people, that made it a lot of fun. That made it a lot of fun to do that. Also, in a couple weeks, I've talked to the comedian. Oh gosh. I'll remember her name in a second, and by remember her name, I'll look it up. The woman who headlined Joe, I went over to talk to her afterwards, and I got to her about a minute or so before Biff did, and I let her know in unknown circumstance that she almost killed Biff, like that they almost had to get defibrillators.
Alicia Cooper.
Yeah, there you go, Alicia Cooper.
Yep.
You
Oh
know,
my God.
she's like, late 50s black woman, and she did a frame by frame. She Zapruder filmed the dock fight in
the Montgomery,
Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah. Oh my God.
So great.
Oh,
Fantastic.
and absolutely. But seriously, as Biff was walking over, I point to him walking. I'm like, I said, I really enjoyed your set. This was so much fun. And I point to Biff. I'm like, you almost killed him because he was sitting behind me.
And that event happened like a day before.
Yeah, it was, I mean, just a real quick turnaround, right? It was amazing.
Well, that's it. We got home and Renetsky didn't know anything about it.
Oh.
And I was surprised. I'm like, oh, well, here. And I said, just Google this. Just Google Alabama dock brawl. And she did. And she's like, when did this happen? I'm like, yesterday. Well, how did she come up with all this stuff? I'm like, because she's a pro. This is, she did. So I've texted with her back and forth, and she's like, I will 100% come on. It does. I got all these great opportunities out there because of our friend Sally. And when I say, oh, Sally's come on the podcast, they're like, oh, well, if she's, if she'll suffer through
If she signed off on it, right?
But it was great to see. I didn't know Scotty Black was coming. But it was a lot of fun. That was a real show. I got to tell you guys, and this is a come to Jesus meeting I'm having with myself in the past 24 hours. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. I really don't know. I'm having not a crisis of faith. The last couple weeks have been so absolutely everything I could have possibly wanted to come out of this trip. Absolutely everything I could have possibly have hoped for, as far as, dude, Dante the Comic said, hey, we can meet for lunch, but why don't you come over to the house and just hang out? And hung out for hours. Nice. Just shooting the shit about everything and nothing. You know what I mean? It's just following each other for years on socials, a funny online, like kind of, a good palship. He did the podcast and it was great, but he invites me to the house and we just talk and we had substantive talks about, different things that he's working on and projects that have gone sideways and, different things that he's dealing with all over the map and stuff like that. That was fantastic. I mean, of course, like Sally gets me a couple of these showcases, you know what I mean? And then to spend Friday night at the Comedy Store with her and then, hanging out in that special room, the people that I did the Tower comedy thing, it turns out that it's her best friend and it's why I got a Saturday night. They do showcases all during the week, but I did a Saturday night showcase, going on just before the headliner, which whatever that means. And then the same thing. And then this knitting factory thing, that's a once a month invite only thing. And that went very well. I think it went well enough where the guy who produces that show in the Comedy Store that Sally works for, he emailed me directly today saying, hey, these shows have gone really great. Do you want to go up Saturday September 2nd at the Ice House? And the answer is yes, I do.
Yeah.
And then I looked at him like, oh, that's a Saturday night at the Ice House. And to have to say, oh my God, thank you. I hope to be back early, next year, maybe February. I would love to go up then. I mean, and then the low hanging fruit. I was telling, Joe about this, Biff. The open mics there, if you look at there's 2 or 3 places you can look at the listings. There are probably dozens of places. I went to 4 or 5 different places. This is all they do is open mics. And some of them are nice. Some of them are okay. One of them was in a converted studio apartment right between,
Okay.
right on Sunset, right between the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory. And it looks like any other apartment building in Van Nuys, the one Joe and I lived in North Hollywood. It was like one of those shapes.
Right. Yeah.
But it's it's a studio. So there's a little kitchenette in the back and bath, but they have, 50
So
chairs
they don't
set
have
up.
it's not like, because I know that I've seen or I thought I've seen comedy places just have open mic nights, but it's not that.
No, yes, it's all of that, Biff. But there are these places that this is all they do is open mics, and the first ones,
Okay.
and they book on the hour, and it costs $5, which is great because out here, most of the open mics are free, but they're like, well, you can do a 3-minute set. You do 5 minutes if you buy something,
I see.
type thing.
Yeah.
And so there's no middleman, and there's no they book on the hour. So here's the time slots for the 10 o'clock. Here's the time slots for the 11. And they leave themselves 10 minutes, for people from this group to leave and the next group to get in. And then they'll sell beer or water, but only in between those times. So while you're up on stage, you're engaged. And it's not you can't come back if you do this, but basically you don't leave. So if you're there for an hour and the first comic goes up and there's 7 or 8 other people waiting to go up or 10 other people waiting to go up, you stay for everybody. So the first comic doesn't perform in front of 10 people and the 9th comic perform in front of 1 person.
Right.
But then you'll see the same people 3 or 4 times that day at either other places that are just mics.
Oh,
That's
I see.
all it is.
So they just do the circuit.
That just do the circuit. But then there's
Wow.
restaurants that have open mic nights.
Right.
There's the big comedy places that have open mic nights. And so honestly, if you want to go out like on a Sunday, and that's just in Hollywood, and then there's a scene in North Hollywood, and then there's a scene in Burbank. If you can do 10 mics a night if you want in Los Angeles, because a lot of people who work the night shift or second shift will do a mic on their way to work or 2 mics on their way to work. They'll work the afternoon shift. But on this past Sunday, I did. The little guy ended up wanting to go to the pitch and do a workout, so I didn't go to a 6 o'clock one, but I hit an 8 o'clock one, a 10 o'clock one, a midnight one. And and that's just a mile driving between them. And at the midnight one, wow. it was a place that there was probably 15, 16 people there. There was 2 hosts that were great. It had a real stage. It had a real vibe to it. And it is. Yeah. It's like I said, I'll have to count, but I hit 11 different places. And the 14
All right, so
days.
We're 30 minutes in and we've done this one subject. Are we going to stay on this?
Yes. No. I was going to say this is a good thing that we're all here back together, talking with each other, laughing, listening to Jacques talk.
No, I know.
No. You had the big. Listen,
I know.
Listen, you had this amazing 2-week excursion to Los Angeles. Your home, basically your home base for 20 years. It was good to be back. Da-da-ding, da-da-dong. You had a lot of conquests and connections and stuff. And I still myself haven't yet beaten Zelda. for the Switch. So, there's a big disparity between like your accomplishments and my accomplishments.
Well, the crisis of faith now becomes, I don't know what to do. It's like,
Play Zelda.
this is going to sound like the biggest, most arrogant fucking thing. Like the last podcast I talked about how I don't get invited to the reindeer games here. That there's so many book shows by the other comics that I know that I haven't cracked the code, that I don't get invited to the cool kid things.
You're either not racist enough or meth enough.
At the same time, no, and it's funny because
I thought it had to do with the things that you put in your mouth, but I don't know.
No, but a couple other people I know just posted another flyer for a booked gig at a really nice place, and I was like, I didn't get the phone call for that. It's like, so I can get invited to do the Ice House on a Saturday night, but I can't do this. But at the same time, I was talking to Greg Boggis the other day, and I was telling him that dude, I don't know if I can go back to doing open mics at a restaurant where people don't know there's going to be an open mic. And he goes, oh yeah, ambush shows. And I'm like, there's a name for it. Of course. As soon as he said it, I'm like, I will never not use anything but that term, because they're not assholes because they're talking while they're having dinner. They came to this restaurant to have a couple beers after work or to grab a bite. They didn't come to hear you, asshole. You're infringing on their having this. I can't go back to do those things. I cannot. So I don't know how many mics I'm going to do. I don't know how many non-book things I'm going to do. I'm not above doing open mics. Nobody is above doing, but I can't do these really, really shitty hearing the same jokes from the same 10 people at a shithole on a Wednesday night at 11 and then drive an hour and a half home. I just can't do it. It's like the whole thing from Bull Durham. I wish I never went. Like I wish I didn't get to see the Primal. And at the same time, it's like, am I really good friends with these people? Do they really want to hang out with me? It's like, are they really going to call in, put their sweat equity online to get me showcases? And they did. The people who said, yeah, come on out, I will put you up. I came on out. They put me up, my friends who said, oh, yeah, if you come to town, I'll come to your show, actually came to my show. And so now going forward, I really have to kind of think about what my next steps back here are, because I can't. There's no networking opportunities, obviously, because I don't get invited to the cool stuff, so that's off the table. The caliber. It's like, because at all these mics,
you've only been in comedy for what, less than a year, and you're already bitter. I mean,
no, I'm not bitter.
You are on the rocket ship to,
but
being
that's
a professional.
Honestly, and I talked to management about this. It's like, maybe it's at the point where it's like, you know what? Every other month I do a long weekend out there. Like, plus things have to change. The boys are going to different schools, theater starting up for one kid, European football starting up for the other on two different teams. I'm going to be spread a little thin as is, and I'm not going to prioritize telling, the same 5 people my new jokes who are worried about whatever they're doing next, type thing. So I really have to focus on what I'm going to do. But it is true. I mean, the fact that airlines don't cost that much. I have a couple places to stay out there. BF. No, but that's the whole thing. If I can do an Ice House on a Saturday and then hit like 7 open mics on a Sunday and fly back, Monday morning, it's like, yeah, I might have to reevaluate how I go forward, just because it is crazy, the contacts and the resources and the people out there I have saying, oh yeah, come, and that's before I didn't throw up on my shoes. And the fact that I did okay at these, I have even more street cred. So that's my thing. But I'm having that Bull Durham moment where I'm glad I went, but if I didn't go, I wouldn't have known like how bad I'm doing here.
Yep. That's why I don't try. See, you ask me all the time. It's like, why, Joe is so funny. Why doesn't he go up and do stand up? Because I don't want to fail. I don't want to, and I don't want to even be partially successful.
That's All-Star Tommy saying you should go up. I've
oh,
resigned.
Good.
but he's the
Right.
one who met you once, listens to the podcast, and he's like, he's so much funnier than you. Why isn't he doing this? Dignity. I think the word is dignity, self-awareness.
Something like that. Yeah, right. I mean, but that's the thing is that so okay. You know what? Let's move on to the next topic because I know that Biff has a heart out, and we could go on and on and on and on and on about this for hours.
Mario Land. It lived up to the hype, Joe. You got to get out there.
Super Nintendo World.
You can call it what you want. It's
Or
Mario
Nintendo. I can call it
Land.
what Nintendo calls it.
So I got to tell you, my love of theme parks has not wavered, but it was a little rough this time. It was a little rough this time because, first of all, Disney's priced out. You know, for me and the little guy to walk into the mouse for one day, bare minimum is $500. Plain and simple. For us to walk through the gates, it would have been $500. And
Insane.
it wouldn't have been the experience we used to have because now it used to do this thing like you could get a fast pass. So you would go to line A, you would go to line C and get a fast pass that you could come back and use in an hour and then go do 2 other rides. You could plan now you pay per fast pass. So the cover charge to get in the club is a couple $100 just to get through the front door, where we used to have a season pass for $1,000 and would go, without exaggeration, 40 times. Now for like a day pass, it's close to like $200 a person, but then the pay as you go, nickel and diming throughout the day. It's like, oh, you wanted to go on rides too. Oh, well, wait, what's that? You wanted to use a bathroom while you were here. Well, that changed it. So that came off the board. So when we get to parks, we get there crazy early, and we have the season passes at Universal that let you in a half hour early. But it lets you through the turnstile, but then you go to the end of the, where Hogwarts starts, and you can't go to the rides until 8. And then there's this fun, elaborate production where they make a big thing about pretending to shoot it. Okay, you're all extras, and we're shooting the scene where there's people rushing to rides and action, and that's right at 8 o'clock. But we didn't find out because we're like, okay, we are the first ones in the park. We're the first ones to the turnstile. We're the first ones downstairs because you got to go down like 5 levels of steps to get down to the bottom of Universal in Hollywood, where there's the Transformers ride, there's the Mummy ride, there's Jurassic Park, and there's, Super Nintendo World. We did not know that, we could have paid $30 extra a person and got in at 6:30 in the morning. So by the time we get down there, the ride is 2 hours long. The wait is 2 hours long. And we're like, you know what? Nobody's going on any of the other rides like now. So why don't we go do the rest of the park and then figure something out for another day? And we did, and it was fine. I will say, once the whole immersion, I don't know what the right term is, but you go through a pipe. You go through this big pipe that makes a sound of going down a pipe as you're walking down the hallway. And then once you're in the Mushroom Kingdom, you can't see anything else. You can't see the hills of California.
It's all walled off around you. You
are immersed. And it's one of those things where if we went every day for the next year, on the 364th day, either me or one of the little guys would be like, oh my God, did you notice Bullet Bob over there? Like, did you see how, no, watch this. And it was like, everything's moving. You are in it's like 4 stories high video game.
I've seen the videos of it in both Tokyo and in the US. And yeah, I'm a little jealous, just a tad, that I'll never go because it'll only get more expensive as I age, because that's the way of things nowadays.
The thing is, it's for you, and it's like, let me just take away all your ammunition. There's another co-host who will gladly let you stay in his pool house. He doesn't have a pool house, but you know what? It doesn't get cold. He can put a launcher. No, but you can come and stay, with me. So you have the truck, like, Renetsky's monster truck, a place to stay, a season pass, like a day pass is only like $60-$70, and a season pass is only like, and I say this, only 150. We went 4 times. We walked through that place 4 times. A couple, one day we were just going to go see something else. We were going from point A to point B. The little guy looked online and said, "Oh, the Waterworld show's starting in like an hour. Let's just walk in and go see the Waterworld show," which is worth it. But I'm dead serious. It's as great as it looks on video, Joe.
Did you do the Mario Kart?
We did, and it's fun. There's a Justice League ride at Six Flags. It's akin to that. There's Buzz Lightyear. It's one of those things, but you're in the game. You are playing Mario Kart. It's a 3D thing. You put on a helmet. You click on this visor. You have to go through the question blocks, and if you're not driving right, because it's virtual, but the car is actually moving.
Right. Is it augmented reality?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Nice.
then you got 15 shells with this one, and do you save them for the boss fight? Do you try to knock off the other drivers? You are driving in the game, and it really feels immersive, and it's all every bit of those sounds,
Yeah.
and stereo in your ears, and it's magic. Then you go to the restaurant. First of all, the food's great. It really is. The food was really good. Crazy expensive. That part is actually, no, that's not true. Like the Beyond Burger was about what you would pay at a restaurant for a Beyond Burger, but they have all these. If you look up the menu, everything is themed, but they have this tiramisu that looks like a question block.
Yeah.
And you almost don't want to eat it because it's. Can I take this home? You know what I mean? And
I want to freeze this.
oh,
Yeah. All right. Well,
they have, like,
those are my squad. Those are my
They have
goals.
like limited time stuff, like, so one of the things I keep on seeing from my random Japan food feeds is that I guess they have these limited time stuff at the like Disneyland, Universal Japan, all those places where essentially they have these seasonal stuff.
Oh, well, but then again, McDonald's brought back the Grimace Shake just for a month. And that was the biggest food item in America for that month. And then it just went away.
They brought back the Grimace, just a sidebar. They brought back the Grimace Shake. And they also published a video game based on the Grimace that was for the Game Boy Advance. If you remember the Game Boy Advance, which you don't because you're older, it came out in like 2001, and it was like the successor to the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So they made, but it's a 20-year-old like handheld, but McDonald's with some publisher decided, we're just gonna make a game that is in the style of the Game Boy Advance. Anyway, that's a little nerdy sidebar. Go on with
why didn't they bring that back when they brought this? Why didn't they port that over for the PS5 and Xbox One?
I'm sure they did, but anyways, I just thought that was a fun thing. But
there's seasonal stuff, but the same thing like with Haunted Mansion at Disney, they shut it down for a month every year to do the overlay for Nightmare Before Christmas, and then they sell the swag for that. Joe, it is. It's you can get on a plane, get to there, and come back over a long weekend for like $600-700. So, I mean, what's that? A kidney? I mean,
I was gonna say that like I think the entry fee in the Tokyo Disneyland is somewhere in the $60 neighborhood. So
yeah, for a day pass, it's not Universal. You can get in reasonable for the day pass. You can, and like I said, the good thing about Six Flags, it's the same thing. It's like $300 for a seasonal pass, and it's good at every Six Flags. So we're going to go up to Montreal next week and check that out. We just went out to New Jersey and did a day trip. So Disney is the only one that's priced out. The other,
no, that's what I was thinking. I wonder if it's like cheaper for you to actually freaking just go to Japan.
Well,
because I mean, it's a day is like $60, like I said, at Disneyland, right? You go, and if you go during the fall, Tokyo, I don't know why, but the Japanese love Halloween. So I think they do. I know that the Universal in Japan does Halloween, and Disney probably does Halloween also. And then you could go there, and I think Universal Studios is like even cheaper.
Well,
at,
we
like,
are.
40
We,
bucks.
we're having the family discussions. Somebody has a couple more concert trips that are already on the
Yeah.
books, but the conversations have started. It's like, okay, and we've talked to the boys about this. It's like every time the little guy loves the ghost pepper fries at Wendy's. And every time we go by, he gets 2 orders and a lemonade. I'm like, dude, that's $14. Like, why don't we cut back on this stuff if we're really serious about going to Tokyo and start saving for that for the summer of 2025? So
No, don't go during the summer.
not the summer. Well, whenever we go, it will be
Go for Halloween. How rad would that be?
Go in if you can go in like September or October, it's probably better.
Depend.
For
You
a
know
couple
what?
of reasons.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, so first of all, summer in Japan is miserable.
Okay.
It's just the worst time of the year to go. It's just horrible. And August is absolutely horrible because on top of it being hot and miserable, everything is crowded because everybody's on summer vacation.
So maybe we'll have to, but that will all depend. It's like, look, if they're doing really well in school and they can miss a week of school in October, then we can roll the dice. I mean, if they were in like the 2nd and 4th grade, we'd be like, fuck yeah, we're going in October, bitches.
Well, the only reason I say October is because then you could, catch the Halloween stuff. Not that your family even cares about that holiday or anything, but
So we will do that. The other thing that I love about LA, other than the everything, is we went to see the movie Haunted Mansion at the El Capitan Theater, and the El Capitan Theater is 100-plus-year-old theater. It has the beautiful balcony, but Disney owns it, and for all the things they do wrong, man, they do that shit right. I mean, the pre-show, it felt like you were watching this movie inside Haunted Mansion, and it's not. I wish Chip Boy was on this show right now because he could tell me what it is. It's not a keyboard.
What do you mean, the pipe organs?
Yeah, but it's called something different. But it literally is like, maybe, is that what it is? It's like 4 levels of keyboards and all these buttons that like loop. He looks like he's inside Neil Peart's drum set. Oh, it almost loops all the way around.
I thought they're called like pipe organs because they have these pipes that go like up, like however many feet, like 30 feet up or whatever.
But this this retracts and it lowers into the stage, and the guy's in full costume, dude. It's like if you're gonna see a Disney movie, you go see it at the El Capitan. Like, see what I hate Disney, everything about Disney. Go see a Disney movie at the El Capitan Theater, and then let's have that conversation. You know what I mean? It's like
whatchamacallit's there, Nightmare Before Christmas there.
Oh, I can only imagine how great that was.
Yeah, it's great.
And how they do the lobby and
Also saw episode 2 there. I want to say episode 2 or episode 3. For some reason, they used it for Star Wars. And they had all kinds of great artifacts there.
Yeah, that's and some people don't know. It's like you almost want to yell at them. It's like, no, don't leave. Did you go downstairs? Because they do a museum. They have a whole museum for whatever movie they're showing. So as you're walking up to the balcony down the hallway, they had all over the place for people to take pictures and the buggies that you go through the Haunted Mansion ride in. They had those set up there and all the trimmings and all like the accoutrements and all that kind of stuff. But downstairs was a museum with all the wardrobe from the movie and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And the little guy, he's usually too cool for school, but this is the first time he's been back and he's realized, oh, these are where their names are. And, and he was, as we were walking from point A to point B, he sees like Ryan Reynolds' name and some other people's names that he recognizes going through the, over by the Man Chinese Theater and going through like the Kodak Center.
You didn't go to the Trump Star?
We did not. We did not. But
it's the one that's kind of hacked up. So
he
might
did
say rump.
It might. Yeah, it might.
The other thing that I got to do while I was there is I got to spend almost a day in Vegas because Barcelona, because we had just the week before I went to LA, I took him to the Meadowlands to see his beloved Manchester United play Arsenal. 82,200 people to see that. A friendly, you know what I mean? A game that doesn't mean shit. But it meant everything to those 82,200 plus people there. I'll tell you that much. the vibe and atmosphere of that was electric, and it was magic, and it was such a wonderful day. So great to be his dad that day. We had the best time. But then we were in LA, and he sees that Barcelona and La Liga is playing Milan. I forget the name of the Italian league. Teams that generally don't play each other, and same thing. We drove out, and it's funny because management was like, that's a long drive, and I'm going to get you a hotel, and hotels are cheap. And she kept calling me saying, oh my God, this hotel, like the Luxor is $5, but with the taxes and the fees that they can't waive, it's like $50. So she ends up getting us at the Orleans, and I'm like, okay, fine. It's like, it was $40. And I rented a car because, borrowing Renetsky's truck, which is great. It's just so great that I have that, but it honestly gets like 7 miles a gallon. And so I'm like, so I get a car for like, it's $60 a day or something like that. It's fine. Whatever it is, it's like 2 days, it's $110. And we
cheaper
drive
than Disneyland.
cheaper than Disneyland. So I pick it up at 9 because the place doesn't open till 9. We're on the road at 9:30. We drive right to the hotel, and I tell him, it's like, okay. I told, because he had his like either his Man U or his Mbappe jersey. I'm like, take that shirt off and put this shirt on. He goes, why? I said, just walking through here is going to be so gross, and you're not going to want that smell on your jersey the rest of the day. And he's like, okay. He goes, how long is it a walk? I'm like, well, the way casinos work, the place you check in is the exact opposite of where we have to walk in. And so you got to go all the way through here. And I said, and then the elevator to the room will be kind of back in the same direction, but a little over this way. So we will literally be in this for 10 minutes. That's how big these places is. And he's kind of like, whatever, I'm being a little dramatic. By the time we got to the elevator, I thought he was going to die. I literally, he has never been exposed to that much cigarette smoke collectively in his life.
Absolutely. That's why I hate the Vegas hockey tournaments, because
worst.
It's like, like I want to just leave my stuff in my car so I don't have to haul through the casino with all my gear.
I learned that because I used to have to go out once every few months, and people are like, oh yeah, you had to go to Vegas. Dude, nobody on this planet hates the city more than I hate Vegas. I don't gamble, I despise smoking, and I can't afford the prostitutes. Vegas is not my town. Like, I don't care how much of a discount that guy gives me. Why do I make those jokes? It's 2023. Stop it, Jacques. But I did. I told him, I said, put all this in a bag, and you're not going to want it. And so we get up to the room, and the room was fine, and it was all this stuff. Yep. I take a nap. Here's the downside. I drove to the stadium first to get tickets because I don't like paying handling fees if I can. But yeah, I think it's the Allegiant Center, whatever it is. Yep. They have an exclusive. All their ticketing is through Ticketmaster. There's no buying tickets for anything at the stadium. They have a ticket window with like 20 ticket people sitting there, and they hold up to the window the QR code for you to scan and then buy the ticket online.
Well, at least they're paying their employees. At least it's a job, right?
Well, let me sidebar. I've never been to a friendlier stadium. I have not been to a friendlier stadium. There was somebody at every escalator making sure you knew where you were going. The people taking you to your seats, the vendors. It truly was a wonderful experience being at that stadium. Everybody knew where everything was. So it wasn't like, oh, I don't know. It's like, hey, how do I get hey, do you know where else they're selling these jerseys? Oh, on the third floor, they have another kiosk up there. The line isn't half as long.
The exact opposite of a Home Depot experience.
My son showed me a real video of a couple YouTubers who built a small house inside a Home Depot because
I saw that. Yeah,
nobody bothered them. They started. Joe, they walked in with nothing, and they went over and they got a saw. They measured this wood. They cut 2x4s. They cut like plywood. They put hinges on the doors to swing open.
That is great.
And then they brought it through and they paid for it. Like piece by piece, they scanned the wood. They were in there for like hours. Anyway, so no, it was great. But we go to the hotel. I take a nap. I take a shower. And And
Slow down.
so we go back to the stadium. And again, it was great. He is so dialed in. This little fuck. I mean, man, it's it's the upside to his OCD and ADHD, and when he's into something, he is into something. And he doesn't follow either of these teams specifically, but they're making substitutions. In a regular game, you can only make 3 substitutions in a game. That's it. 90 minutes, 3 substitutes. If somebody red cards, you don't get to sub that guy in, but it's a friendly, so everybody's going to play. And they make this substitution where 4 guys from each side is coming in. And he's like, oh my God, I forgot he was here. Oh, he just came. It's like, how do you know the reserves on Milan? Like, I've never heard him say, oh yeah, I'm a fan of AC Milan, and he did. He just had the best time. The fruit there was fine. The fruit for stadium fruit was fine. I might have told, of all the jokes, of all the comedy clubs I did, the best laugh I got, I was going through the line, and the woman ringing me up, she was great. The guy behind getting the food, I ordered nachos, and I asked for, like, one side cheese, one side jalapenos, and he's like, sorry, man, we only got white guy nachos right now. The jalapenos are gone. And I said, well, can I get the other side with mayonnaise?
Oh my God.
And that lady behind the counter, and she's like, white people love mayonnaise. And the guy I thought was going to drop the tray, and it was awesome. It was one of those moments where, and I looked at Squish, I'm like, never, ever miss an opportunity to make somebody laugh. Just, it's the best, whether it's on, stage, or you're writing, or just being a decent person having this moment. So then we Ubered over. It honestly, I want to say it was a $7 Uber ride, because I wasn't going to take my car and park for $50.
Yeah.
So it was a $15 Uber ride. I'm not going to tip $2, but then after the game, the Uber pickup, you look at the Uber, for the Uber to get in there and get out of there, it takes an hour. So you're paying for that hour, or you can walk over to New York. And there's a highway that they shut. It's just like being at the Kings games where they shut down the roads. And before the game, this was a bridge that was 3 lanes of traffic each way, or 4 lanes of traffic each way. It's completely closed down, and it dead ends at the parking structure for the Lexor. And what's that medieval one that's over there? There's a Lexor. Excalibur. Joe,
I've been to Vegas.
Look at you, baby. And then we walked over to New York, got some street food, had some fun, and you're walking with the whole crowd, and it was honestly, Biff, he got to see something for the first time that you and I have experienced in person together. There are people, look, this is the only Euro soccer game that's happening in the Southwest for the next year. And so if you like this kind of soccer or football, you are there, and you're wearing whatever jersey, just people exchanging jerseys after the game.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And when Biff and I saw, up at the Olympics, we saw this amazing game, and there were fans like us. It's like, dude, it's the second round of the Olympics. We don't fucking care who's playing. Get us in the goddamn building. Yeah. And everybody was wearing their country's jerseys, and they're cheering. They're making fun of each other. They're yelling back and forth. It was but then after the game, here's just strangers who are never going to see each other again, exchanging jerseys. And it's that thing that makes sports kind of special. And he also saw that his dad kind of knows a couple things. Grammy gave him some money to buy a jersey, and he went to New York the week before, and they didn't have the jersey at the Pele store, so he held on to that money. And Grammy gave him a little more money for this trip. He was not leaving Spain without buying a jersey, and he bought a Barcelona jersey. And he was really happy. It was $200, and I'm like, dude, we can shirt's at the Pele store for $125, and if we get your name on it, it's $150. you know what? I wasn't talking. And also, our friend, again, circling back to our friend, Mr. Taylor, he has this phrase, event specific apparel.
Right.
And so, but now he's feeling guilty. So we're walking out of the stadium and we're going over that bridge and people are selling knockoff shit. And people are selling jerseys for $50-$60. As one guy now, because we stayed until the stadium made us leave.
Yep.
You know, because for some reason, maybe it's because they got a long flight coming out. A lot of the people, the reserves, were doing drills after the game. So we sat there. It was like watching warm up, but after the game, Biff. And it was, and he's taking this all in. He's like, oh, those are the ladder drills. Oh, we do that. Oh, I should do this. So until they said, okay, guys, you have to leave now. The lights are being shut up. But there's still a crowd outside. So we're walking over and one guy is selling jerseys for like $40-$50, and one guy's walking with a bag. Oh, one guy was selling whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, let's follow that guy. I said, I bet I can get that for like 25. And somebody stopped me because I was trying to track the guy down. Because what jersey you buying? I said, he has Milan jerseys. He's like $40. I said, he's selling it for 25. And the guy's like, fine, 25. Because in an hour, there's nobody there to buy those jerseys.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I gave him the $25, and it was embroidered. If this is a knockoff, it's a pretty fucking, I can't tell the difference between. And
Sweatshops are getting so much more
dude,
sophisticated.
those little kids, those 7-year-olds.
They work so hard.
Oh my God. But their fingers, they have such dexterity. I mean, the stitching.
You know what? They start young. You know, they put in their 10,000 hours.
Literally, yeah. Hey, but at least they get paid for 6 hours. And then I told them, I said, okay, so now you didn't buy a jersey for $200. You got 2 jerseys for $120 each. And you could see the cartoon piano come off his back because he felt after he had to buy it. And you know, with the challenges he faces, he had to buy it. Like physically, he had to buy that, but then instantly had buyer's remorse. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so he felt so much better. I'm like, you didn't buy a $200 jersey. You got 2 jerseys for $240 with the tag, you know, because the other jersey was tag. Yeah. And it did. It was probably the best dad thing I did. It's like, to make him feel bad about buying something expensive, I bought him something else. What the fuck is wrong?
You make him smoke the whole pack of cigarettes. You know?
There you go.
But that was, you know, honestly. So he had and then, like I said, there was he doesn't just follows it. He wants to go into the field and put in the hours. And as we're driving over, he's like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do. And then I threw some stuff at him he usually balks at, like the plyometrics and some change direction, some speed drills and stuff like that. Renetsky with us and did the plyos with him. And he did. He put in the hours. And like I said, you know, the last night I could go out and do it, he's like, hey, can we go to the pitch? I'm like, no, I'm going to do 4 open mic. Yes. So we went and did that. And then the second to last day, I had a meeting down in Santa Monica. He loves the Santa Monica Pier, but this is the first time he's like, can we just go on the water? It's like, oof, can we not spend money? You mean you want to just go and this 80-degree day splash around? And we spent 2 hours, you know, I just had my shorts on and, you know, I had packed a bathing suit in case because management was like, you have to make him at least put his feet in the ocean. I'm like, yes, 100%. Well, you know, what? And then, you know, that was on Sunday. And then the last day was Wednesday. You know, I had the show that Biff went to on Thursday. And I told him on Tuesday. On Tuesday, I said, we can go back to Universal. We can go back to Six Flags, whatever. He just wanted to go back to the beach. I'm like, wait. Just go where it's going to cost absolutely no money whatsoever except spend one-on-one time splashing around the ocean for like 3 hours and then pay the price the next 2 days because I'm old and out of shape. 100%. And which I don't know how I'm going to go back to doing shitty open mics at ambush shows. And I don't know how I'm not going to leave my wife and children or one son and take him back there and just, I don't know.
Right.
Dude,
there's always money in the banana stand, you know.
It is kind of funny though. You're talking about like denying your children those, ghost pepper fries while talking about like flying to LA every other month. So I don't know where the savings is going to come, but
Well,
I'm sure you'll work it out.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the details. Don't need to hear it. I'm just making a point.
I didn't say I was. I said I'm thinking about it. But at least when I fly out, I don't have to pay a place to stay. I don't have to rent a car. And, my hobbies are pretty damn cheap. Plus, I already have the universal pass for the year.
I'm just saying it sounds like it's still more than keep getting your kids, ghost pepper fries. But
no, I said he has to stop. I said he has to stop.
Oh, like
Jacques?
he's paying for the fries? Yeah.
No, that's the thing.
That's
Well, actually, the oldest one is. The oldest one.
Oh, that's good for him.
Well, he was bummed because we had such a great time. And that's another thing, like where the oldest one had turned a corner this summer with maturity wise and all this stuff. The younger one has such reverence for him. I don't know how many times the little guy was calling his brother just to check in. And the oldest brother was like, oh my God, I'm really bummed. I got 2 weeks when the pool closes to school starts, maybe I'll come out for a week. And then he called the second to last day and said, well, good news, bad news. The city decided to extend the pool for another week, which he's like,
more money.
Yeah, well, he loves his job. It's not
Good. That's great.
not even the money. And he actually likes the sense of independence and like taking the bus to work and all of that stuff. It's been
I gotta say, it's better than my management, who's like taking the bus like once in her life.
Yeah, but that bus is a little. I mean, how far is that bus ride? I mean, I've only taken the bus once in LA.
Did she ask the driver to check her bag when she got on the bus?
I'll be honest
driver.
with you. But back when I was in college, I used to walk to Lake and take a bus that took about 50 minutes to get from Pasadena to downtown LA so I could go get lunch and do grocery shopping in Little Tokyo.
Oh,
I would do that once a month.
By yourself? Would you have a pal?
By myself. Like I'm gonna like entrap somebody into taking the bus with me.
Go shopping.
That's my freshman year.
Did you have a car in sophomore year? Or did you have a friend to drive you?
No. I mean, eventually, right? Like basically, my roommate got a car his sophomore year, and he, another Asian guy. So yeah, he was happy to go. So
okay, that's great. So yeah, I mean that I did. Shocking that I dominated this podcast more than much, but that's the whole thing. But I have a crisis of comedy faith coming up of like I don't know what to do now because that was so great. Like, well, it's the same thing. It's like when I played hockey and guitar, it's like, yeah, I'm not coming back here and playing shitty hockey. I'd rather not play that, after having got to play really, really great hockey. And seriously, Biff, it was like F and H in the early 2000s again in guitar. And then when we moved back to Massachusetts, I'm like, yeah, I can't be playing with, I just can't do that. So I decided it's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done playing. And even, if I get back in shape and I come out on F and H, it's like, I'll go to Phoenix next year because Phoenix has nothing to do with hockey. It's like,
This is true.
It's just spending time with you and spending time with All-Star and spending time with John. Yeah, the hockey gets in the way a little bit, but we never had to play the extra playoff games. So
We did. We've done it like twice, at least.
We've gone 30 years. Anyways, it's but yeah,
6.
But that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, it's like, there's a mic that's at the access station that there's no bar you're competing with. It's 7-minute sets, and that's that. I'll probably do that once a week, and then maybe once a week do something else or not. I mean, I got to get better. I need to do the work, but and maybe after I take a breather and the boys get in school and we figure out their schedule, I'll readjust. But right now it's like, yeah, I can't go from, Knitting Factory, Comedy Store, Ice House Invite to, I don't want to name a place in case one of my friends listens and they're like,
Right.
wait a minute, I thought that's my favorite place to go.
To the Chili's in.
How dare you disparage the good name of Chili's, my friend.
I'm just saying that the comedy sucks. The food is great.
Oh yeah, Chili's comedy, forget it.
I mean, I am looking forward to taking Mike Controbus's or Steve, Mike Controbus's hosting class at the end of the month. That's something I'm very interested in doing, for sure. That's a different muscle. But you know what? Politics. Do you guys want to dive into that? I don't.
No,
You know?
I think this is a
we
good time
good?
to
Yeah,
wrap it
yeah.
up. Wrap it up. I don't think anybody has anything else left to say worth listening to.
I just, quick prayers to Maui. I
Oh,
don't know if you
God,
see the
yeah.
devastation.
Do you
Oh
do
my
you have
God.
do you have friends that have been affected?
Not really, not really.
Okay.
But you know what was really shocking was that was the last vacation Lori and I went to prior to the pandemic. We literally went last week of February, and then like March 4th, we were, everything closed up, right? The harbor where we left to go whale watching is basically gone. It's like, it's shocking. It's just gone. It's like
Yeah,
just gray.
the satellite photos you see of before and after.
It's
Yeah.
staggering.
Mm.
Staggering.
And I heard about the devastation, but I didn't hear how it started.
I don't think it's been really made clear. I don't think they actually know, but
They say wildfires, but it could have been a careless white guy. I'm gonna guess careless.
You know
white
what?
guy.
And even if we did,
safe
even if we
bet.
didn't, we've done so much shit that we've got away with that
Yep.
we shouldn't. Let's. I think we're overdue for
I'm
taking
sure
the
that the
blame.
corporation that pollutes that island the most is owned by a careless white guy. So I'm gonna say, yeah, careless white guy.
Once again, we actually suck. No, but guys, this was great. And again, Biff, it was great to have the three of
Yep.
us on. It's been way too. But seriously,
fun. Yeah.
Biff, like you and all the F&H guys, like I don't have to thank Joe for his endless support. I mean,
No.
I mean, I do. I mean, but like I told the last comic, it's like, yeah, if you can remember the three funniest things I said, Biff, they were probably written by Joe anyway. So Joe and I, Rick, but I think the funniest thing I had said that night was we're all standing outside. We take a group photo, and I look right at Biff. I'm like, "Hey, do you want to just stand here and chat for an hour, and that way these guys don't have to listen to the next podcast? Just get out." And All Stars he's like pretends to pull up a chair. He's like, "I'm in. Let's
You
do
could
this."
have done the first Carnival Personnel podcast
The
live.
live. The
Like
live.
a live, yeah. Dang it. I could have zoomed in.
But I did. You could have. You
Man,
didn't ask.
unless
just
unless
because you
require-
can. Did you
But
ask if
that
you
would require
should?
planning.
Right.
Yeah, no.
But I was again to you, Biff, for coming out on a school night, for John doing it twice, and it was just great to see Scotty. By the way, I did follow up with Scotty, and I mapped it. It's 3 hours and 44 minutes from here to Sherbrooke, Canada, so I can be there at the blink of an eye. If the blink of an eye takes 3 hours and 44 minutes, but I will be going up to Sherbrooke this year. I don't have any more parenting tips. I already talked about
You've covered it for I think
what I
another
did.
3 or 4 podcasts.
3 weeks? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. You've covered your parenting tips and mine and Biff's. So yeah, Biff, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yeah, hopefully let's not make it another month.
I know, right?
Let's make it 2. So yeah, that's it. I guess we're gonna wrap it up. So let me tell you about my summer vacation. I didn't take one. I've been working. That's right.
I
By
took a
working-
vacation last week.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys, you guys, have more than one income and plan ahead. That's great. It's all good. It's great, good. And I'll just sit here, looking at my video games. I got my games, not these games. This is a picture behind me, but behind this picture are real games that I can stare at all day long, all day. And you know what? Sometimes they stare back at me. Yeah, yeah. It's a little thing we got going on.
That's real special.
It is, and I'm real special for thinking that things stare at. I'm going nuts, baby. I'm going nuts. So, Jacques, Biff, All Star, John Taylor, Scotty Black. Who else am I missing? Somebody, come on, help me out. Somebody, name drop. Who else listens?
Does Al listen to us?
I don't know, but anybody out there in an earshot? Oh, listen. By the way, listen to the new Dan Cray song that dropped, called I forget. It's a toe tapper. It has to do with a certain event that happened January of some year in Washington D.C. You know, it's got a beat you can storm to. Is what I'd say. It's a beat you can storm to. Coming in at number 5.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's enough out of me. Don't forget.
There's other lovely books to read. Trouble is you call it fate, treat it like a certainty. Judge the ones who don't agree with all your make-believe. I understand the desperate need for something more than meets the eye. Think that someone's in control, that somehow there's a reason why the people kill and people die, and all for make-believe. It's only blasphemy if you your home, the rich man spends, and the shepherd tends his sheep. The children, darkness, made up things to explain all the wonder and the suffering. Now you're older and you know more. Still you cling to all that make-believe. It's only blasphemy if you believe. But your homes, the rich man's spend, the shepherd turns his sheep. The butcher holds, and the rich man spends, and the shepherd turns his sheep.